What's good with you, YouTube? TheCaliEffect, king of games here, and I know what you guys are thinking. TheCaliEffect, where is your sexy face? I know the screen is pretty cool, but where are you at? Well, I'm gonna be doing something just a little bit different from the norm. I'm actually gonna be scripting just a little bit. I'm gonna be going offhand a lot, and I wanna know what you guys think about how this works as opposed to my normal freehand videos. Nonetheless, I know that's not the reason why you clicked on this video. You clicked because the title intrigued you. Low tier league, worst decks tournament? I'm interested. Everybody wants to see those really terrible decks go at it, and in this video, I'm gonna be explaining in depth what exactly is this video about, and everything about what you guys are gonna be seeing for weeks to come. Now, after a 4-year hiatus, the Low Tier League, formerly known as the Scrub Olympics, is a major tournament where we pit some of the worst decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Against one another. This is back for its 4th installment. We've actually done it for a very, very long time, and it's one of the very first series that I started, but we're just gonna go ahead and call it the first installment because this one's gonna be done a lot different than the previous ones. And the ones before, me and a co-host, depending on which Scrub Olympics you've seen, D-Fish Fan or Eric Vanden Boss, would draft decks between a 32 strat bracket and play against one another. But now, we have an even better way to get you guys, the player involved, and get you guys into some of this action. Did you guys guess like what exactly or how exactly you get involved? I'm pretty sure you guessed, and if you guessed it, you probably got it right. This tournament will be played for you, by you, and determined by you guys. We have a 19 strat bracket. They may look a little bit odd to some of you because some of these aren't necessarily the worst of the worst, but they all have something in common. These strategies are all from the Duel Terminal Hidden Arsenal lore, and boy, while some of them become somewhat viable archetypes in the competitive scene, most of them just outright stunk up the place. I mean, some of these strats are so bad, I wouldn't even use them for toilet paper if I desperately needed to. I guess you could say that they're so bad, I'd feel like a bad-ass for using them, and that's not my style. No? Was that not a good one? I thought it was a pretty good one. Anyways, you guys are probably wondering how exactly do you participate? And while a lot of spots have been already taken up because people in the Discord get priority, there are still some spots open, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is add yourself to that Discord and follow the rules in the announcement. I don't even really want to tell you guys how many times somebody just didn't read the rules and regulations and messaged me. After you guys have read the rules and regulations, I'm pretty confident you know exactly what to do. So there's really no reason to keep talking about that. I really hope to see you guys fill in for some of those strategies and dominate the tournament. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking on top of that. Hey, TheCaliEffect, what are the prizes? Well, look, I'm gonna tell it to you guys straight up. There are no monetary prizes, mainly because we wanted to keep the Scrub Olympics. While we wanted to keep it competitive, we also wanted it to be fun. Throwing money out there may just bring out some of the worst in people, but we do have prizes. The winner of the Scrub Olympics tournament will be deemed as the champion. My gladiators fight day in and day out to become the best of the best, honing their skills and becoming a better player. Throughout the process, you're not only going to learn quite a few things about playing scrubbier decks that could apply to your tier or competitive decks, you'll also be able to have your name possibly highlighted in gold across the Discord. And you guys should already know what it's like to be a champion and no one else to be a champion. You get the ultimate bragging rights and also priority in our next tournament. We already have a champion, and I'm telling you, the rewards that she loves it. So getting right back into the video, I just wanted to say before we hop into it, we've had some balancing issues with the tournament like this before, and we don't want them to happen again. So I've implemented a forbidden list on top of the one that we already have right now, just to keep things fair. It's a relatively expansive list because there are so many broken cards or generic cards that would overtake the game, giving decks that opened it an unfair advantage. So forbidden are all hand traps. If it activates in the hand, more often than not it's forbidden. We banned cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring just for the must-play factor it would bring to the tournament, and the fact that some of these strats are a lost cause with one meager disruption. We want you guys to be able to enjoy these terrible decks duke it out, not to see hand traps duke it out. Also, cards like Dino Wrestler Prankatrops had to kick the can because, well, I mean, if it's broken in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, it would be a complete terror in Scrub Olympics Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, we wanted to be as close and as fair as possible, and drawing the Pancake Boy is almost a win condition for every single deck. Floodgates like Gozen Match and Rivalry Warlords had to hit the road too. Strats are allowed to side in between this best of 3 double elimination bout. Try saying that 5 times fast. Best of 3 double elimination bout. I can't even say it once fast. Random floodgates are something that we don't want to have to deal with. If you guys are wondering, just about every single hand trap, busted generic card, and floodgate is banned for the purpose of this tournament. We also decided to keep things scrubby by banning some of the other cards like Gym Knight, Lady, Lapis, Lazuli, because Konami should have did that a long time ago. And let's face it, some of these strats have been blessed by the gods with support. We gotta take some of that away to keep it interesting and to keep it scrubby. Gotta keep you guys on the toes, while obviously some of these decks look like top tier contenders. Taking some of those important cards away brings them back down to that scrubby level. If you guys want to see a full list, I'll leave it down below in the description, as well as in every single one of our low tier league videos. The last and final restriction is that every single deck must function like its original archetype is supposed to. I know it's hard for some of the strats like Ally of Justice, but a deck has to have a decent amount of cards in it to be considered, well, the deck that it wants to be. We try to maintain that aspect of the game, as we want to see an actual Fable deck, not special summoning Fable monsters to your side of the field to link spam. Now that we are done with the rules, the regulations, how you guys can join the forbidden list and whatnot, let's actually talk about my bracket now. I have these all listed out from best to worst, and that's exactly how the tournament is going to be determined. The decks that I feel are the worst are going to obviously have a little bit of a harder time to compete. But as you guys can see, it's also double elimination, so every single deck will have multiple chances to prove me wrong and be one of the top decks. The worst seeded deck I have is Ally of Justice, a deck that thrives against light-based decks, but in this Scrub Olympics, there are quite a few elemental decks. It's also one of the very few strategies that doesn't have a lot of cohesiveness. Flameveil comes in at 18, and it was a pretty tough choice between Flavel and Lavo, but Lavo actually has quite a few very scary plays. Flameveil does have Flameveil Fire Dog, but then again, it's like, they both have Flameveil Fire Dog. Ice Barriers, the pure disrespect at 16. I know you guys are probably throwing everything you can think of at the computer screen, but I have Ice Barriers at 16. Same thing as Ally of Justice. It has some really cool cards like Brio and Triss, but the cohesiveness is just not there. Jirax at 15. Well, I mean, Jirax have Jirak Gaiba. That card defined a portion of a format, being able to summon another one, possibly make Evil Sorlagia or Dolka. As long as you're using cards like Forbidden Lands to manipulate the attack and keep your monsters clean, Jirak has a pretty good way to find a way into the upper seed. Still Swarm as 14. At first look, Still Swarms look like, I don't know, Evil Swarm's cousin, like the one that, mother and father are related before they were married. But then you start to think of him as a poor Monarch strategy, and you're like, I can kind of see it. Miss Valley probably should be lower. There's like 3 cards in Miss Valley that ever even make sense. One of them being a Apex Avion, the other one being the 2000 beater that can allow you to manipulate cards like Swords of Revealing Light, and the third one being a card that you don't even want to mention in, I don't know, the field spell because it's limited to 1, but Miss Valley does have a couple of cool plays. Vylons can be completely deadly, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I have them in my 12th seed as the bracket. That equipped deck is a sneaky good. Janex probably should be a lot lower, but if you guys seen what we did in our last tournament, whoa! Janex is something that you shouldn't sleep on. Gusto is being piloted by Jest, and that's why it gets such a high number. Not only that, it actually has quite a few OTKs that can put the opponent in a pretty bad spot. Fabled is number 9. CaliEffect, what are you thinking? Are you smoking? Your bracket is already bad from the top. But Fabled have some pretty good plays, gaining the ability to be summoned off of themselves to discard it, and while you can't combine them with Dangers or Dark World because it would take away the strategy, I wouldn't sleep on it. Card destruction is limited to 1 on this list. Gishki being the only ritual deck in this bracket, if I'm looking at it correct. Yes, it is. And it's also being a water-based ritual deck. I can tell you the other water-based ritual deck that's really good. This one's kind of like the cousin that, mother and father were related before they're married, but still, it can compete. Notoria have access to Notoria Beast, Notoria Barkion, and the card that never gets mentioned in Notoria Landois. You have Spell Negation, Trap Negation, Effect Negation. You also have that huge fusion monster that everybody wants to summon. Worms are deadly. I could probably put Worms in top 5. People sleep on Worms because it was actually a really competitive deck inside of 2014-2015. It has access to Worm Zex and Worm Yagen, as well as Worm King, which are very good disruptive cards. Their trap card is also to be feared as well. Evil Swarm is the deck that everybody forgets inside of the Dragon Ruler format. Why? Well, because Evil Swarm, while it was the third of the tier 3 trifecta, Spellbooks and Dragon Rulers were the only real deck. Evil Swarm was still somewhat viable, being able to prevent those high level decks from summoning a ton of monsters. And as you guys can see, every single one of these decks have access to their boss monsters are huge monsters, so Evil Swarm can make some waves there. Constellar obviously being above Evil Swarm because light is bigger than dark. No, but seriously, Constellars have Constellar Pleiades, which can disrupt so many things and also help you in the same fashion. X-Saber as the number 3 seed. Whoa! Now, you guys can't argue with my 3, 2, and 1. X-Saber was actually a dominant deck inside of the format. It was a competitor, and I expect it to be the exact same way this time around. Gem Knight has an FTK. Granted, we had to hit the FTK, but it has an FTK. It has a Link monster. It has everything going for it. It is the number 2 deck. It was actually in our previous bracket rated a lot lower and smacked the entire list around. I'm not gonna make that same mistake twice. Number 1, the best deck on the CaliEffect's bracket is Dragunity. That's it. Dragunity can make 1-card Crystal Wings or 2-card Crystal Wings. You have Dragon support, and while cards like Guard Dragon, LP, and Pisty are banned in this tournament, it still can make some really devastating boards. And did I forget to mention that it has Crystal Wing? Yeah, it has Crystal Wing. That is my bracket, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see down below in the description, what are you guys' brackets? Did I rank some of them too low? Will I be wrong? Will your bracket be right? It's going to be really exciting to see. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of The CaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. And if you really did, consider joining our Patreon. The next thing I wanted to ask you guys is try to figure out which ones I improvised or which parts that I improvised and which parts were actually scripted. I think that's going to be pretty fun. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.